What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sweat Equity. Today I want to try to get the boat to run for the first time. I've just been up on here for the last like half an hour getting the heat exchanger back on. I got the dipstick tube put back in. Right now I'm just trying to get the 3 nuts back on the heat exchanger, and at that point we're pretty much ready just to kind of start prepping everything, putting oil in it, connecting the batteries up, stuff like that, and we'll see what we get. So. Alright, so this is my idea of trying to keep the water flooding in my backyard under control. I got this kiddie pool. I'm gonna fill up. It's mostly full of water. Alright. I'm gonna put my submersible pump in there and just see if we can try to recycle some of the water. Put this in here on the deeper side. This is just a regular garden hose size, but I just have this 40-in thing. I think it'll be a little easier to manage than a really long hose for this. And these are called muffs, which they're going to go right over this part. Try to keep it clear of here. Okay, yeah. So they go up here. That's the inlet holes right there where the water would be sucked in. So you're supposed to go over that. Turn up on. I think that should work pretty well. At least keep some of the water usage down. Alright, so all I did without you guys was just put the dipstick back on. It was a little bit of a process to get the threads lined up down in the fitting. I was able to get the fitting back in, no problem, but you know, getting the actual dipstick tube has a fitting on the end of it, and it just it's hard to get it lined up. I ended up just kind of putting a little bit of motor oil around both surfaces and kind of around the part where the nut spins on the pipe, on the tube, and that helped it a lot. Make it just at least want to spin on a little bit easier. So maybe it took me about 5 or 10 minutes to do that. Not terrible, not as bad as I was expecting. The heat exchanger is just tube right here. I just got that sit in there until the nuts started on it. I need to get a longer extension so I can kind of get under the thing. So that's where I'm at right now. Alright, so I've got everything together. I've got 2 batteries connected right now. It cranks over a little bit faster. I haven't seen any actual proof of oil pressure yet. I see oil that either is coming out of the distributor seal or it's just what I spilled up here. That's probably what it is. It probably just ran all the way down. It just like I spilled enough to make it go all disconnected the fuel line, so you can see if we actually pump any fuel. The pump itself doesn't draw anything from the tank, and it'll just end up shooting out of here. You can see that, and then I'll just shut it off. But to fill up the bowl in the carburetor, I was thinking I could try to like fill this up with gas, or like put this in a bottle or something, but it would have to be up here, like the gravity feed it. So I think at first I'm just going to kind of do what I've been doing, just trying to put this gas in it. See if we can get anything to happen. I wish I just fit. Great. Alright, let's see if I can pour some. I'm trying to go for the vent tube over here, which actually flows over here. Doesn't seem like it. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm just going to try cranking it from the key back here, see what it does. Yep, I already see gas dripping out of here. It doesn't really smell that bad. I think I'm going to just hook this back up, and we're just going to see if it'll run off what's in the tank. The gas doesn't smell that bad at all. I mean, it doesn't smell new, but I don't think, I mean, it's got this giant filter here, which filter out anything too big, which I've never taken off to see what it actually looks like, but that's good for now. Just put a little more in there. There's a way I can that'll give it some gas, but I'm also trying to disconnect it from the drive part of it. Maybe like that. Yeah, I think that's it. I think. Give it a little bit of throttle. And probably ran out of gas, but that is good for me. All right, so now we gotta get some coolant in there so we can actually try to run a little bit longer, but I'm happy with that. All right, so where we're at right now is the engine runs pretty well, it seems like, but we're not getting fuel up to the carb. So what I did was, the first thing I took off the fuel line that goes into the carb right here, and I kind of just clamped it right there so it was, you know, gravity fed, and I just filled that hose up, and it just basically ran until it ran out of that line. So to me that means the carburetor works. It revs up, it seems like it'll idle, so that's good. But there wasn't anything coming out. This is the line right here coming from the tank, and then this comes out of the fuel pump itself. This is driven by you know, it's like a pulse. It comes, I think it comes off the cam. So there's, you know, like a lobe on the cam that runs a plunger in there, and it pulses, and it creates fuel pressure. I could feel some, if I took this off and I had the engine running long enough that I get over here and put my finger on it, I could feel it sucking. But there was nothing coming from this line. So I then came back over here, popped this little access cover off, and this right here is the sending unit for the fuel gauge, and this works perfectly. When I'll see if I can demonstrate this. When it's all the way down like that, it shows empty on the gauge. So let me turn the key on here. All right, so you see the fuel gauge right there, it shows empty. Now I'm going to move it up to half, or roughly half, so you see it went right up, and if you go all the way up to the top, it goes to full. So that works good. I did see that we were, I think, pretty close to 13 volts when it was running, so we are at least charging somewhat, and we do have oil pressure. Right now it's showing 0. I peeked over here at some point and I saw about 40 psi, so everything looks pretty good as far as the engine is concerned. Did not notice if the RPMs were reading. The other thing that I noticed is, since of course the fuel gauge works and it showed that we had gas, as you can see, it looks to be pretty full. So there's gas in there. So my plan now is I'm going to see if I can take this pump right here, this hand pump, and rig it up over in this fuel line and see if we can get something to siphon into that line. I think once we get fuel in there, we'll be okay to continue running off of the gas that's in here. And I mean, like, you know, I know that gas isn't good. It's been there for a long ass time, but it doesn't smell that bad. So I think it's enough to run off of. So that's what I'm going to do now. You know, basically just going to go ahead and put this back in here, because there's nothing wrong with this. And I'm going to see if I can siphon some gas over there. quiet up here at least. I mean, I don't hear anything that sounds too abnormal. You know, maybe a slight little lipper tick, but nothing too worrisome to me. Obviously, it must have saved us some fuel at this point. They're running way too long. So here, see, actually, it is at idle. It's got about over 13 volts, so that's great. We got just over 40 psi of oil pressure at idle. Great. Temp has not moved yet, I don't think. Maybe, so that may not be working. I don't know. Fuel gauge now, for some reason, is pegged empty. It was working. I don't know. I didn't put that in all the way, so you know, RPM's gauge does work. Coolant spilling there. This is what it is. My coolant funnel didn't fit on that, so it does seem to be burping itself, and there's, you know, there's pressure in a little bit of pressure in the hoses. So I think it's definitely pretty hot. They both are hot. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, without even having to clean the car, but I think it's just sitting there idling. It just starts right back up. See, this is my key situation. It wouldn't fit up into here the way this one was shaped or something, so I just have it hanging down here. So I gotta like hold it with one hand. But I mean, come on, guys. Perfect. So I think that's a success for today. I don't see anything other than just spilling down there. Don't really see anything leaking too bad at all. You know, everything seems pretty good. So we at least have a pretty good engine on this thing. Nothing else. So I think that's going to be it for this one right now. I did switch to my phone because the GoPro battery was charging up, so this part of the video is probably not quite as clear as the other part, but hopefully it was still good enough. So anyway, please subscribe for more on the boat and everything else I'm working on. Until next time, peace out.